Welcome to the Explainer. Let's dive right in and completely shatter this illusion of what it actually takes to be recognized as an industry expert today. If you've ever scrolled through your feed and wondered why certain voices just completely dominate the conversation while others get ignored, well, we're about to look directly at the PR playbook used to manufacture that exact credibility. Because look, you've probably asked yourself this at some point, right? How on earth do completely unknown founders suddenly become these massive industry experts practically overnight? We're going behind the curtain of elite PR firms to see exactly how this is done. Spoiler alert, it's not magic and it's definitely not luck. It's a highly systematic blueprint, and we're going to reverse engineer it piece by piece today. So let's just bust the biggest myth right out of the gate. You absolutely do not need years of experience. I know, we naturally assume authority requires decades of grinding, climbing that corporate ladder, putting in countless hours before anyone will even give us the time of day. But honestly, experience just isn't the strict prerequisite society makes it out to be. And guess what? You also don't need formal credentials, a massive following, or traditional press coverage to get people to listen to you. We've got this mental trap where we think we need a shiny degree or a fancy blue checkmark before we're quote-unquote allowed to speak up. In reality, those things are just byproducts of authority, not the spark that creates it. Here is the real secret sauce. Authority is entirely a perception game. It isn't earned first, it's manufactured first, and then validated later. Think about that for a second. Today, you're getting the step-by-step blueprint to engineer that for yourself, without sitting around waiting for some gatekeeper's permission. We construct the narrative first, and we let the validation catch up to it. So let's get into Section 1, the authority illusion and scanning for signals. Here's the honest truth that most folks won't tell you. Nobody is actually out there deeply fact-checking your background. Seriously, they're not. Instead, they are scanning for specific signals. Elite PR teams know that authority rests on three core pillars: visibility, consistency, and framing. If you show up in the right places often enough and you're framed correctly, the audience's brain just automatically does the heavy lifting of trusting you. It's a mental shortcut. Which brings us to Section 2, borrowing credibility, or the zero authority strategy. If you're starting from absolutely zero, scratch, nothing, you have to strategically borrow credibility. You gotta sound the part. Instead of using generic phrasing like, hey, storytelling is important, use insider language. Say something like, campaigns fail without narrative clarity first. It's literally the exact same underlying idea, but insider language signals that you understand the deep structural mechanics of the game, not just the surface level. Another great tactic, position yourself as a translator. You don't gotta be the smartest person in the room. In fact, please don't try to be. True authority often belongs to the person who can make complex things simple. If you can take a dense, super complicated industry trend and make it easily digestible for everyone else, people instantly view you as a master of that subject. All right, Section 3, building authority assets. These are your tangible perception products. Listen, PR teams do not just throw random content at a wall and pray something sticks. They construct specific, tangible assets to mentally anchor an audience. You need three things: a signature framework, a strong point of view, and structured proof. Taking a strong, non-neutral stance is exactly what creates the contrast you need to actually command attention in a noisy feed. Let's zero in on the signature framework for a second. This just means giving your thinking a catchy, memorable name, like the visibility loop or narrative-first PR. It doesn't have to be some groundbreaking revolutionary concept, it just has to be memorable. It's like putting your own proprietary label on a box. Once you name that framework, you essentially own the concept in your audience's mind. And then there's structured proof. Look at the contrast here. Instead of vaguely claiming, oh, I helped a client grow, structured storytelling uses hyper-specifics. You'd say, we shifted their positioning to category voice and within 60 days, inbound doubled. See the difference? Specificity builds undeniable trust, and you don't even need to parade around unbelievable, massive wins to get it. Moving right along to Section 4, distribution is authority, the visibility engine. A lot of creators kind of get this backwards. They think authority comes before visibility. They think, well, once I'm an expert, then people will pay attention. But it is the exact opposite. Visibility is what creates the authority in the first place. And the best part? You don't need to be everywhere. Strategically pick one platform purely for industry credibility, like LinkedIn, and another strictly for broad attention, like YouTube. Dominating just two focused lanes captures both professional respect and eyeballs, and it totally saves you from creator burnout. All right, Section 5, the perception stack formula. This is how we seal the deal. This right here is the exact sequential formula PR teams use to make your perceived authority practically bulletproof. Layer 1, start with content. Show up with real insights. Layer 2, framing. Sound like an experienced insider. Layer 3, association. Connect yourself to known ideas and existing leaders. And finally, Layer 4, consistency. If you repeat this stack over and over, you won't even have to call yourself an expert anymore. The market will just naturally do it for you.
Section 6, the ethical boundary. Basically, what not to do.
Before you run off and unleash this playbook, we've got to draw a hard ethical line here. Authority hawking is incredibly effective, yes, but it absolutely must be rooted in reality. Do not fake results. Don't pretend to be someone you aren't. And please don't overcomplicate your messaging just to sound smart. This playbook is about positioning what you actually know in the strongest possible way. Authenticity is still your bedrock. We are just optimizing how that authenticity is perceived by the public.
And finally, Section 7, the reality check, and the final word.
It's time to face a seriously uncomfortable truth about why certain people are hogging the spotlight instead of you. People with way less experience are seen as experts simply because they understand perception. That's it. The individuals currently overshadowing you, they aren't necessarily better or smarter or harder working. They are just actively playing the game of signals, while you might be sitting there waiting patiently to be recognized.
Authority is not a title. It's a constructed narrative. Take a second and really let that sink in. Grasping this completely changes how you're going to approach your industry presence from today forward. You aren't waiting for a promotion or a certificate to be an expert. You are actively writing the exact story that makes you one. So, I'm going to leave you with this final, incredibly vital question. What narrative will you construct today? You now have the builder's blueprint. The tools to manufacture your own undeniable credibility are completely in your hands. So, what are you going to build first?